Good afternoon to you. Mark Stott with HurricaneTrack.com here. Wanted to give you an update on what is now Tropical Storm Don in the afternoon hours here of July 17th. The National Hurricane Center updating the information that Recon confirming that we do have Tropical Storm Don here forming out of what was 95L. Notice this ball of convection that develops right there at the last frame or so. That's impressive. That's upward motion in the atmosphere. And if that goes up while this is moving over your location, then you're going to get some heavy rain and possibly some strong gusty winds. Let's look at the statistics related to Don this afternoon. Brand new advisory, the first advisory here for Don. And it's east of the Windward Islands, and so watches and warnings have been issued for portions of the Windward Islands. If we click on the information, the government of Trinidad and Tobago has issued a tropical storm warning for Grenada. The government of Barbados has issued a tropical storm watch for Barbados and for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And the government of St. Lucia, a tropical storm watch for St. Lucia. So right now, the winds are 40 miles per hour and is moving off to the west here at 17. You can see that right there. That's not too fast. It's not moving west at 25. So it's not really caught in those fast trade winds that I talked about on my morning update earlier. I guess that was early afternoon update. And the winds, of course, are 40 miles per hour. And those kinds of winds are going to be felt primarily in any of that deep convection. I'm going to go back to the satellite shot because I want to talk about what to expect if you are in the area. Okay, so this is Barbados here. This would be St. Lucia over here, if I can draw on it. And then down here, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And then, of course, Trinidad and Tobago. So what do you expect if this is heading your way? Well, these convective bands, you guys have been through enough of these things, but I want to remind you, when you see these convective bands developing, it's the organization of the system that usually determines how much wind you're going to get. And by that, I mean, obviously, the better organized it is, the higher the chances that you're going to see tropical storm force winds. And another way to look at this, if Don moves on the track off to the west here, and in fact, let's just look at the tracking map while I talk about this, and it is still organizing, then you folks here within the watch and warning area, all right, you could see a higher potential for tropical storm force winds. And especially if this is organizing as it goes on top of you. So that's the thing to watch here. The trend with the satellite images will be, what is this doing as this moves into the area? Barbados right here out in front, and then eventually the track takes it just to the north of Trinidad and Tobago. So folks in Grenada and north of there through St. Vincent, the Grenadines, and of course St. Lucia need to be watching this closely. And let's just look at a map here, a Google map, just to familiarize people who are not familiar with the area perhaps as to what is going on with the potential impacts from this system. As it moves on through, again, there's Barbados there. If I can circle it, come on, work with me here. And then up here, there's Martinique. So I think the effects are going to be basically down in this box here. And really, what it's going to come down to, I'll say it one more time, sorry to be so repetitive, but you know, it's not a hurricane, and that's good news. So what do we look for? What are the impacts going to be? In this case, I think we just watch the satellite presentation, and we watch for these deep thunderstorms to develop. And again, if this gets more organized and we see a larger area of what we call a central dense overcast right over that low-level center as it tracks on off to the west here, that'll tell us that it's organizing, and these effects could be felt a little bit more so. All right, they'll be a little bit more noticeable. Obviously, mariners, small craft in the area, you know, time to heed those watches and warnings and head to port. Visitors in the area, this is not anything to be worried about. A tropical storm this time of year that's fairly small in size, battling some dry air, won't have the same kind of a punch. And, you know, this is needless to say, but just kind of putting people's minds at ease. Folks that are visiting there, people that know people that are visiting there, don't freak out. It's not a big deal in terms of, oh, it's going to be horrible. It's a tropical storm, and we'll see how it interacts with the environment around it, and we can see what happens. But overall, I think the impacts, obviously heavy rain, gusty winds, maybe tropical storm conditions for portions of the Windward Islands. The beautiful thing is, in this day and age, we can keep an eye on what's happening through these tools that we have, the satellite imagery, radar when it comes within range, etc. And a lot of people will be sharing that information on social media. So if you know the trusted sources, find them, bookmark them, and rely on them as this approaches the area. Obviously, I will be on top of it, and we'll see what happens over the next 24 to 48 hours. I do want to point out, before I sign off, one thing. You notice that it just kind of goes away here after Wednesday. There's nothing else there. It's a truck driving by as I'm doing this update on the side of the road. I'm doing some traveling. Why doesn't it extend farther west towards the ABC Islands, for example? Well, it supposedly will dissipate before that time, as very strong trades, as I showed on the morning or afternoon. It was morning where I am. I'm out west in Nevada. The trades through here are pretty strong this time of year, and so it's probably just going to sort of shear itself out by virtue of just moving too fast, and it won't be able to gather itself, so to speak. All right, so the brunt of it coming through the Windward Islands within the next day or so, and we'll keep an eye on it. All righty, very good. Have yourselves a great rest of your Monday afternoon or evening, wherever you may be. I am Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, and I'll have more for you tomorrow morning.